Welcome to Field Event Showcase. I am your host, AJ White, and today we'll be checking in with Josh Syrotchen. Josh recently threw a personal best 61.29 in the Discus, which currently has him number 3 on the 2020 U.S. Outdoor list. Thank you for joining us, Josh.
Yeah,
Uh,
thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Congrats on the new personal best. Can you take us through the meet and talk about how your training has been going this summer?
Yeah, the meet basically was in Pennsylvania. I'm living in St. Louis now, so I heard about it, flew up about 7 or 8 days after I heard about the meet. As far as the competition, obviously it was a personal best, so that's great, but it didn't feel, I guess, like in perspective, it didn't feel like a great throw, and I was kind of in a rut those few weeks that I was there. So positive and negative because I mean, being in a rut and throwing a PR is good, and then the negative is obviously I want more. So I guess that's
Yeah, and
my perspective on it.
that's something I noticed. You're starting to get pretty consistent in those low 60s, and might be due for some big throws right now. Are you kind of feeling that kind of same thing, that confidence there that you might be able to jump into kind of those mid 60s right now, 63, 64, 65, and really kind of start trying to push for that Olympic spot?
Yeah, I mean that's the only reason I'd be willing to sacrifice the time with my family right now is if I believed that I could do that, and my coach believes I can do that, and I've done it in training, so it's just one of those things where I've got to link it up, solidify my training, be more consistent, and just go out there and do it.
Yeah. How did you kind of approach some of the challenges this summer? You got an extra year to try to qualify for the Olympics now, so you got some more time. But there's also been some challenges as far as like the pandemic. I think I also saw that you moved and maybe be switching career goals and things like that right now. So, kind of, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, kind of crazy mix up. At first, I viewed the pandemic thing as a bad thing just because I was in a very good spot. I felt like I was in a spot to come out and throw 65, 66 meters. But with that happening, I was already planning on moving. So I moved from Arkansas to St. Louis. I had already planned on the previous year after accepting the job at Harding in Arkansas that I was going to move when the season ended to St. Louis because that's where my wife's family's from, and we just wanted to be closer to family. So anyway, pandemic happened during all of this, so it's kind of bad timing on the career move. And in my mind at the moment, it was bad for the track season because I felt like this was my time to come out and pop off, have a 5 6 meter PR, and surprise some people. But then positive side on it is that it just gives me another year to be more consistent. Like I didn't, this year might have been a season where I came out and throw 65, 66, but it might have only been one or two meets. As far as now, I have a whole nother year where I can come out and 65 can be the usual throw instead of a 61 meter throw or 60-50 like what it is right now. So,
Yeah.
and as far
So
as career
it's
wise,
uh,
yeah, I've kind of switched from I was a throws coach, which lined up really well with training because I just go out and train with my kids and throw with my athletes and coach them, and it wasn't really viewed as a job on my side, but it paid for the what I needed to do to support my family. And then moving up to St. Louis, I applied for a couple jobs. They weren't really looking for what I was offering, unfortunately. So now I'm kind of following in the footsteps of using my finance degree that I got from Harding. So I've got a couple interviews actually this week, and not exactly sure where it's all going to line up, but still trying to figure that out.
understood, but it sounds like you're kind of changing and going after some career goals and things like that, even while chasing this Olympic goal. Do you feel like that's kind of like a misconception? Not necessarily a misconception, but people think like when they get out of college, there's a lot of good throwers that kind of hang it up. Do you think it's more doable than a lot of people think about? Like, yes, you got to make some time sacrifices, but you can still kind of have everything because, like, you have the family, you've had a career, um, looking to change careers into more of a finance and more of the white collar career. Or kind of what's your kind of thoughts on that?
Originally, I fell in line with what most people thought, and I just thought, man, if I'm not coaching, then this is not going to be possible. but now getting a better perspective, being in a position where I have to get a white collar job. I mean, there's just not a throwing job available, and coaching at a high school is not going to pay for my family's my expenses. So now looking at it, it just all comes down to, do you want it? I mean, are you willing to wake up and train in the morning? Are you willing to, find prepare your meals? Are you willing to stretch at times you normally wouldn't stretch? Are you willing to go throw at a different time every day because you might have to? I mean, those are just the kind of things that um, you have to do. Throwing in different rings. Like some people are very picky. They're like, "Oh man, this is the ring I always throw in. It's not going to be the same." Well, that's just kind of a crazy thing to think when you're going to throw at multiple different rings anyway when you go and compete. So just little things like that, are working out at different gyms. It might be out of your norm or uncomfortable, but if you're planning to better yourself, a lot of things are going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, definitely. So kind of what would your typical kind of training day look like then? You're talking about having to make a lot of those kind of sacrifices, like as far as like
Uh,
time on weird times and stuff like that.
right now, it's pretty open just because I don't have a job. But when I first moved here, I started working at Amazon as a delivery driver because I needed something just immediately to just feel comfortable with having an income coming in, and that didn't exactly fit, only because delivering packages outside in 95-degree weather, you lose a lot of weight. And I mean, I was drinking tons of water, doing my protein, creatine, everything, and I was just going down physically. I couldn't keep up with my training. So that's why I kind of moved over to, okay, I'm gonna use my finance degree. But as far as schedule wise, I mean, I was working 12-hour days, and the kind of my basically the way I had to do it was I'd wake up in the morning and go throw in the morning and then lift after. But so I'd throw, say like 5:30 for like an hour, and then come home, take a shower, drive 30 minutes to work, work my 12-hour shift, get home at 6:30, hang out with my daughter for 45 minutes before she goes to bed because she's only 16 months, so she goes to bed pretty early. And then I'd go lift, come home. My wife already had dinner ready, so I'd just reheat dinner and maybe sit down with her for like an hour, hang out, and then she'd go to bed because she was going to be up with my daughter in the morning. So that was kind of the schedule I had. Right now, it's obviously a little bit more open just because I'm in the job search, but that's probably the way it will look. Switching, rotating between throwing in the morning or lifting in the morning. Right now, it stays light till 7:30, 7:45, which is nice because if I get off work 5, 6 o'clock, I can still go throw and then eat after.
Gotcha. So kind of looking forward now, do you kind of have any meets left on your schedule this year, or what are kind of your plans moving forward to try to really kind of jump into that 64, 65 range next year?
As far as meets, I don't have anything on the schedule. I know of a few meets, and I have good contacts with the universities in the St. Louis area, and I've talked to them about hosting some meets, and they actually want to. Fortunately enough, maybe not fortunate in some eyes, that around here things have. I mean, people are still wearing masks around, just depending on the county you're in. But I mean, there was a soccer game going on behind me when I was practicing yesterday, whereas some states you wouldn't even hear about that. So, in the area that I am, they're, I guess, more conservative. So there's stuff like that going on. So it's more likely that I will be able to have a meet here in the next couple of weeks. So I'm trying to get something going at one of the local universities. I don't want to bring their name up until it's okay, obviously, but
Yeah.
so I might have a meet or two left before December, and if I do, it's just gonna kind of go out there. And I mean, I really think right now I'm capable of throwing a 64-meter throw, and if I had a great wind, it might go further. But at the moment, I'm probably in like 63, 64-meter shape, so that'd be nice to go out and do. But it's not gonna really help me as far as qualifications for anything. I mean, I don't think so, at least. And at the end of the day, it's really not my end goal to throw 63, 64. So if I do have another meet, great. If I don't, I'm just right now we're already kind of stuck. I'm already stacking up the volume again and lifting heavy. So I'm throwing more and throwing heavy discs. So I'm not really training to throw far right now, even though I'm still kind of throwing far in practice. So I don't know if that answers your question. As far as next year, just what we're doing is we're trying to refine my technique. I've been too much of a meathead when it comes to throwing over the last 4 or 5 years. So this last year has just been technical focus. As far as strength, I mean, I like to think I'm there to throw that, but it doesn't hurt to get stronger. So
Understood. So more of a technical focus. You're putting in a lot of reps, a lot of drills, or kind of like,
yeah.
what is kind of your focus on this off season?
Oh, I've got about two cues right now. Right now, I'm just trying to work on my entry out of the back of the ring. Very typical for just diving out the back and not getting around the left side. So that's a very big thing for me is my entry. And then my technical model is gird canter right now. So with Dane, we have technical models. Sometimes it's multiple. So it's like mine's a combination of gird canter and Dagers or Dockers, whatever, however you say his name. I don't know. But so it's like the first 3/4 of Gird's Cantor's throw, and then finish of Dacres because it's more grounded, and we like that. So that's kind of what I'm aiming for. Obviously, I have my own movement and specialties, but that's kind of the ideal path that I'm taking.
That sounds good. Those are two good throwers right there. So,
Yeah.
um,
Well,
yeah. So, kind of wrap up here. Would you like to give a shout out or plug any sponsors or anything like that?
so if I have equipment sponsor, which is ATE Discus. They've been very nice, sending me discs whenever I need them. So I'll plug them. Great quality discs. There's plenty of great discs out there, but I do like theirs, and the ATE Gold and the Indra are very nice, along with the Supra. As far as my training, garage strength, earth fed muscle, I'm not a direct sponsor. They do some, they help me out with my training, but they are who I work with. I'm just not quote unquote sponsored by them. So,
All right.
so I'd not
Uh,
plug his Dame Miller. He's my man. So my
Gotcha.
brother.
That's sounds good. Yeah, it's I was able to work with them a couple weeks ago, so definitely some good people over there.
Yeah.
Um, well, thank you for taking the time, Josh. Everyone, make sure you go follow him on Instagram. I'll put the link in the description along with all the Field Event Showcase social media links. If you like the content, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for updates on future content. And as always, let's grow the sport together.